PodSaaS, where we're putting the SaaS back in sassy. Sponsored by LeadrPro, where you can book demos with target customers on demand and fill your sales pipeline instantly.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of PodSaaS. I am your host, Chris Sheng. Today we have Ifty Kerzner coming to us from Israel. How's it going, Ifty?
PodSaaS, I'm feeling sassy today, Chris. I love
Awesome.
the shirt. I wanted to bring some bling for the sass, but then they told me it's not that kind of sass. It's the other kind of sass. So I try to tame it down with my Kisterra shirt. But if I knew you were going to rock the nice Hawaiian one, I would have run. So next time on PodSaaS, you'll see me with the same vibe. Happy
Awesome.
to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. Before we hop in and getting to know you a little bit more in your journey, tell us a little bit about Kisterra and who makes a good customer for you guys.
Okay, perfect. We are the world's first insurance marketing operating system, means that we're a cloud-based solution that helps insurance carriers with their entire digital marketing and distribution campaigns. I have to take my phone on silent. It's part of life. We're too connected to them. And what that actually means is we provide, like I said, an end-to-end solution, and we help carriers be more profitable. If I need to kind of water it down all the way down, we help carriers be more profitable with their digital marketing distribution, which is a very difficult thing to do. And especially in the last kind of couple of years where profitability for insurance in general has kind of declined, we help them become more profitable through their marketing department. Our customers we work currently directly with some of the largest auto insurance carriers in the United States. A good customer for ours would be anybody that provides insurance on a mass scale. Everybody that would enjoy customer differentiation for marketing, just like they do for their main product, right? Because what we say for Kisterra is insurance is a product that is so much based on differentiation. Everybody understands why Chris and Ifty will not pay the same price for their auto insurance, even if they have the same car, same model, same type, same everything. Everybody understands why they shouldn't pay the same price, but not enough people understand why we should be marketed to differently, right? Mm-hmm. If insurance is based on differentiation, insurance marketing should be based on the same differentiation. Ifty and Chris should never see the same ad at the same time on the same platform if we're not worth the same. And that's kind of the vision that Kisterra brings to the world with our product.
Love it. Awesome. Very specific product, very niche product. I'm curious as to how you ended up there.
It's a super niche product, and I love it because that niche is $140 billion a year of total addressable market. So if you're going to find a niche, you might as well find a niche that can explode.
Of course. Absolutely. Awesome. Love it. So we'll get to kind of how you started Kisterra, but before we do that, we do a thing here called series of rapid fire questions, where we're going to get to know Ifty a little bit better as a human being and as an entrepreneur and individual. So we'll hop right into it if you're ready for it.
I'm here.
Awesome. First question, super straightforward, but it's who's your favorite entrepreneur and/or startup story? And it could be one of the same or it could be different.
Favorite entrepreneur, hands down, my dad taught me almost everything I know about businessmanship, entrepreneurship, being a man in business, how to respect people, how to respect your partners, how to treat your colleagues. Really, I cannot say enough about how much I've learned from my dad. And maybe also more important, how to make money, how to be profitable, how to buy for $1 and sell for $1.10. Because my dad has been an entrepreneur his whole life, so I learned a lot from him. Favorite startup would be completely different. I think would be Instagram. I think Instagram caught me by shock. 13 people getting $1 billion a year and a half after opening the company. I think I was a lot younger. This was like 10 years ago. For the first time, I said, oh my God, this is a new economy. The times have changed. Money has changed. 13 people, $1 billion back in the day where nobody knew what $1 billion looked like, right? You didn't have unicorns flying everywhere like you have now. So I think that really changed my perspective of life. Mm-hmm. So between what I learned in my house, so favorite entrepreneur, my dad, and just, I love the story of Instagram because it ignited a fire, I think, a new fire in a new generation of entrepreneurs saying, oh my God, there's more possible than we ever understood in technology and in creating quick value from technology, which Absolutely. I think kind of took me by storm.
Absolutely. Do you remember what you wanted to be as a kid, like 8, 9, 10 years old and growing in a household? Huh?
Politician. When I was 10 years old, I was on Israel's most popular talk shows with the Prime Minister of Israel talking about politics. So I was a crazy kid. I should not have been there in my mind, but I cared about, peace and war and economics and all that kind of stuff. So I was concerned with things that instead of playing soccer outside with my friends, when I was a kid, I was really concerned about kind of domestic and global issues. So I always wanted to be a politician, and I'm not sure that it's not going to happen one day. I mean, my family's against it. A lot of people are against it because they say, why do you need that hardship, right? It's a hard thing to do, but I really believe in, providing value to people and trying to have a significant, good mark on the world. And I hope that before I die, I'm lucky enough to be able to do, impact people's lives in a good way.
Awesome. Love it. Next question here is a little bit more personal, but what's one of your more painful experiences? And I'll give you some context as to what the question means. But I think most of our exponential growth, whether that's professionally or personally, stems from a place of extreme discomfort. So is there anything?
I know exactly what happened. How do you call it in English when you're a kid and the people at school don't talk to you? Do you know what I mean? Like if a group of people, nobody talks to you anymore in your grade. I don't know. I know the word in Hebrew. I don't know in English. But that's what happened to me. Is there a word for that in English?
I don't know.
It's not exactly bullying.
Yeah,
it's not exactly bullying, but it's like I got boycotted or, like nobody spoke to me for like a couple of months, and it really ruined my life. And I think most of the decisions I've made in my life afterwards, wanting to be popular, wanting to be loved, wanting to be successful, having to prove something to the world. You don't build a $1 billion company if you don't have a grudge on your shoulder. And you know what I mean? It's like if you don't want to prove something really hard to the world, you just don't go through all the hardship that goes through building, this kind of company. And I think I carry that. I carry the fact that, my family expected me to be an entrepreneur. But more than anything is I kind of always had a grudge, I think, against the world. I think it's a hard thing to say on a rapid fire thing, but I'm trying to be honest to people, right? Everybody has a fire beneath them. Everybody has some, maybe, like you said, hardship, trauma. And I am for sure that has changed the trajectory of my life. And ever since, I have something to prove to the world. I have a chip on my shoulder, and I'm still in the process of getting that away.
Yep. No, absolutely. I agree. This kind of coincides with the next question, but what motivates you in the 25th hour? Is it that chip on your shoulder, or is it something more now?
It's I don't want to be regular, man.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be regular. I don't want to be mundane. I don't want to be I never want to do that 9 to 5. I didn't want people to tell me what to do. I want to shine, man. I want to be unique. I want to dent the world. I want to scratch the tree of history. I want to do something with my life. And now that I have my son, Michael Moses, who is my firstborn son, which I love, he gave new meaning to my life because, oh my God, everything that I thought up until now I have this little guy, and I really wanted to succeed, for him to be proud of his dad. So 36 years, I've had just my own ambition. And now I have this little guy, which there's nothing more that I wish in my life, but for him to be proud of me and what I do. So that is a huge new motivator. 25th hour, 26th hour. If anybody's looking at this, go get it, guys and girls, obviously. Go get it. Don't wait for somebody to tell you you can't. Don't care if you lose. If you want to be regular, be regular. Why are you listening to this podcast? It's not for you, right? It's about SaaS. How are you going to get to this? You want to change the world? You want to do something? Go get it. And I'll tell you also on the other, it's not gonna heal you completely. I always thought that, if I have money and I'm rich, and successful, it's going to heal all my childhood trauma. I have to tell everybody listening, it's not. Okay. Mm-hmm. I'm here. I'm still working hard. I don't feel mended in any way except for my wife and son. Mm-hmm. Family, love, relationships, which, funny enough, is exactly everything that your business destroys. Business destroys family, love, and relationships, right? For money. So I'm torn in between. I'm still here. It's 9:30 p.m. in Israel, and I'm in the office talking to you instead of being with my wife and son, right? So I'm saying something and proving the opposite, but maybe all entrepreneurs are crazy like this. We're torn between wanting to be very successful and wanting a peaceful life with our family. I'm sorry for going on these rants, but I think it's more important than talking about, the same old BS that everybody talks about. We got to be honest with each other. We need to try to inspire each other. We need to try to comfort each other. I want somebody to look at this who's maybe, in the beginning of their startup, in the beginning of the round, and look them straight in the eye and say, hey guys, listen, I know you. I feel you. I understand you. It's okay. Believe me. I know how hard this is. I know how rough this is. I know what you're going through, and nobody promises you there's even a gold pot at the end of the rainbow. I know, but keep hustling, keep the grind, keep doing this, because this is what we were born to do. And if you feel like you were born to do it, just do it, and everything else doesn't matter.
Absolutely. 1000%. That being said, obviously things are hard in starting a business and just getting things rolling and building up that momentum. What do you do to decompress? Is there anything that you go back to?
I take baths. I try to take 2 times. I try to wake up, spend an hour in the bathroom before I go to sleep, like 2, 3, 4 a.m. I take an hour bath. 2 things happen. One, just the physical comfort of the hot water on my body relaxes your mind from all the pressure and tension and craziness, right? You don't want to kill yourself. You want to try to relax. So that's one. And 2, while I'm in the bath, I watch these stupid. Have you ever went down there, YouTube or TikTok or Instagram?
Oh, yeah.
Rabbit hole? You know what I mean? You watch one video and then all of a sudden you're watching metaphysics and how did the moon get created? Like, how did I even get here, right? But that really kind of detaches me from the day-to-day business and it helps me calm down. I take an hour-long bath. I study about molecules or people doing magic on TikTok, and I really enjoy it. I know a lot of people say, my wife hates when I do it. I'm like, it helps me calm down. I want to watch somebody inventing something in Zimbabwe, which, a water pipe. I want to know how it's done, right? I want to know how to make ice cream sandwiches in the United States. I really need to know how it's done at 4 a.m. before I go to sleep. Yeah. So I do a lot of that, and I play on the mobile phone like crazy. I'm one of those people that actually spends money in the casual game apps. So I'm a whale for them. I don't want to say how much because I'm embarrassed. A lot of money on you know what I'm talking about, the casual game apps.
Yep.
I spend a lot of money on that.
Wow. Okay. Cool. Good deal. Next question is, as a founder, you typically will wear a lot of different hats, right, along the way. Has there been a skill set that you've picked up, as an entrepreneur that you've had a strong emotional disposition towards, either loved or hated, something that you never thought you would pick up?
First of all, I think for me, the most important thing as an entrepreneur is human skills, is emotional intelligence. I think they're much stronger, more impactful than any technological know-how. Now, there are other people, right? Like Mark Zuckerberg, Steve Jobs, that were kind of these creative geniuses that everybody says didn't have, people skills. But that's why I'm saying for me, for Ifty, from Kisterra, I'm a huge believer in people. I'm a huge believer in partnerships. I'm a huge believer in relationships. That's Absolutely. Why for me, human intelligence and actually caring about people is by far the most important trait as an entrepreneur. It's the one that I enjoy the most, but it's also the one that causes the most pain if you get into conflict with people. Because when you don't care and you're just a businessman that cares about money, it's very easy to, fire people, to cut deals, but when you actually care, it's emotionally draining to say goodbye from people that you love, right? If you're finishing a business relationship, like our partners, they came to my wedding. I fly to their wedding. I actually see it as friendships, not only as a business transaction, which is amazingly good, but then a lot more difficult if it has to end for some reason.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'd be curious too, when you bring up that point, I'm a strong believer in EQ over IQ any day. And I'm curious if the Mark Zuckerbergs or, the Steve Jobs of the world, it's different. It's different today. It's very, very different today. And I think,
I want the good people to win. You know, I always ask myself, saying nothing bad about them, obviously, right? Love them, but just saying, I want good people to win. What I call good people is people that are kind to other people, people that care, people that respect me. Ifty, personally, I'm rooting for those people. I want kindness to win. I want the business world to prove that you don't have to be cutthroat, that you don't have to be wolves to each other. I want the business world to prove that you can be kind, that you can be caring and still successful. I know that the world is a pyramid and the financial industry, you got to fight for the top. I understand. But I want to prove with Kisterra that you can be the good guys and still win, still make money, still be influential, in the world of business and technology. And I really hope that, I don't get disillusioned by this. But I hope that what you're saying is true. I hope that what you're saying is true. And maybe times are different today and there's a lot more need for EQ. A lot because also the workforce has changed, right? Yeah. A lot of the employees, they want you to be there. They want you to care. I think that's a blessed change in the world of employment.
Yeah. I mean, we could talk about this more too, but I feel like, there's definitely, longer tail impact from the pandemic and the idea that a lot of things are like remote now. When we're on Zoom calls, we're invited into people's homes, whether they're partners or employees or strangers that we're taking meetings with, right? You've had this probably before where, their kids running around, or, your partner's running around, and
I agree with that 100%.
Yeah.
It made everything so much more intimate.
Yes.
The world is intimate. They
Yeah.
brought us into their house. You see the dog, the cat. Hey, what's your kid's name? And instead of these cold, office walls, which I'm in the office right now. This is real, by the way. So it's not a background. So instead of being here,
Yeah.
you get to visit people's houses, which for me, I love it because I'm all about who you are, where you're from. Let's talk, 15 minutes about, sports
Yeah.
and then do business. I love that. I thrive from that. And so does Kisterra.
Yep, absolutely. Next question here is, one, do you have a bucket list? And then two, what's one of the more ambitious items on that bucket list, if you care sharing?
I released an album. I used to be a musician in Israel. I used to write and compose songs for myself and for others. And I released an album when I was 21, which thankfully was very, very successful here in Israel. Had some massive hits on the radio. And the way I end the album, it's funny because you ask, the way I end my album, I say it in Hebrew. I'll say it in Hebrew and one say it in English. Which means when people ask me what I dream about at night, I say I don't dream. I manifest my dreams into reality. So in a way to answer what you're saying, I was 19 back then when I wrote it, and I still try to do it today. I have no bucket list of climbing the Everest or being on stage with Eminem. I try to live if I want to see concert, I fly, I go see it. I'm releasing a children's book next week. Hold on here for 1 second.
No, it's all good.
What's on my bucket list? Releasing a freaking kids book.
That's amazing.
About my dog, Ken. This is getting released next week. This is my book. It's about my dog. It's a kid's book before they go to sleep about adopting a dog and playing with your dog. It's in Hebrew, obviously, right? I'm sorry, guys. But point is, dude, who does this kind of stuff, right? I mean, it's like have a company. I'm releasing a kid's book. It's just, why not?
Exactly.
What is it bucket list? Kick that shit off the bucket, man. Go. You want to write a kid's book? But what are people going to say? How are you going to? I don't care. My kids, but I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to be able to sell it. I don't know if anybody cares. But I did it, and I'm going to try to make it a success, like everything else I did. So I think people should just go for it. It's the same like we talked about before. You want to write a book. You want to paint. You want to travel. You want to get married. You want to try it. Try it, brother. Try it, sister. What do you have to lose? Life is miserable if we don't try to bring our dreams into reality. Life is going to be miserable if we keep waiting for one day.
Absolutely.
Fuck
I agree.
business, fuck money. I'm sorry for saying that on the podcast.
It's all good.
Go chase your dreams. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Yep. For sure.
How hypocritical I can sound in a SaaS podcast talking about a company, but I feel like it needs to be said.
Yep, absolutely. Last question here is going to be the idea of legacy. I think we've alluded to a few things here, but more importantly, what's the impact you want to leave on this world before you leave it?
Art, culture, music, books, a TV, a movie. I want my legacy to be inspiring for people, right? Kisterra is going to grow to be one of the largest, technology companies in the world. That is amazing. I take a lot of pride in that. Do not get me wrong for 1 second, if anybody's listening to this podcast, that we are not 100% dedicated for the success of Kisterra. I'm talking about something else. I'm talking about the ability of, alongside doing that, to do art, to do culture, to do something more for the soul. So that's why I'm saying my legacy is going to be music, art, books, movies, anything I can write or compose.
Awesome. Love it. Cool. So we'll end the series of rapid fires questions there. A lot of things I want to go back to, a lot of good nuggets in there. But, starting off kind of with your journey in music, and, I come from like an arts background a mix of backgrounds. Like started off doing like finance, more so to appease the parents than anything else. But then I left that, did a 180 and ended up in entertainment because as a kid, I wanted to always make movies. And the last thing I did was ended up like making a movie, and it was a direct-to-DVD horror film, but I ended up selling it.
I love that. Did you direct it right?
I did everything. I shot it in 5 days for $8,000. I sold it for, I think a few, like at this point, it was like a 50,000 minimum guarantee that Lionsgate bought it for. And then I still see residuals today, which is amazing, which is like, cause it's like 12 years ago.
Oh, let's go do a movie after we're done.
Right?
Huge movie buff.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah.
I love
Same.
going to the cinema. Not that Netflix stuff at home. Actually getting out of your house, going to the theater, buying some popcorn and Coca-Cola, and sitting for 2 hours watching a movie.
I love it too. But I think like going back to that, right? And when you say the arts, I think there's a lot of similarities between the arts and the soft skills that's required to find any kind of success in the arts and entrepreneurship, right? And I don't think it's necessarily like talked about enough, but a lot of the times, you know, whether you're an actor or a musician, you know, a painter or whatever it might be, right? It's like you're out there and you're hustling on your own. You're trying to build brand awareness, right? You're doing all these, you're promoting yourself. So you have, and you deal with tons of rejection. So you have a thick skin and strong backbone. But the idea is, I think a lot of times is ego is a motherfucker, because that could usually be the thing that gets in the way of you actually having some kind of financial success or outcome, is that you might be betting on the wrong horse, and that horse is yourself. And I think sometimes that's the hardest pill to swallow. But you have a ton of those soft skill sets that if applied somewhere else and you had a better product or a better, you know, a better solution or a thing that you could market or promote, you have the ability to do it.
You are 100% accurate. I could not say it better myself.
My question back to you is like going from, you know, you saying that you had released an album, you know, seeing success through that at the age of 19, right? And then like, what did you learn from that experience that ultimately, when you started building Kisterra, like, you know, walk me through any of those similarities, things that you found along the way?
I found that being famous kind of sucks. Being the center of attention is mentally hard on you. And you hit the nail exactly on the head by saying, when we have Kisterra, you can use the exact same skills to promote something else that isn't you. Mm-hmm. So people aren't talking about Ifty, they're talking about the company, which is much easier to digest. If there are talkbacks on the internet, it's not about you, the comments, it's about the company, which gives you a layer of separation, which is emotionally easier, right? I still see it as a personal failure if I go out of a meeting and they don't want to do business with us. But it's much less of a personal failure if I pitch them my movie or my song or me as an actor and they said no. That it was devastating. That's literally why I left entertainment, because it was too emotionally draining. And with Kisterra, you can put that barrier and saying, listen, I believe in this product like I believe in myself, but there's still that layer of separation in which I feel I can still go to sleep at night after rejection, you know? Sure. So that's kind of where I find it. It's the same thing, the same energy, the same enthusiasm, same, you know, needing to the entrepreneurial kind of environment, but you're a little bit more guarded because it's about money here, right? It's not personal. You know how they say it's not personal, right? I'm saying no to you. In art, it's personal. I don't like your art. I don't like your painting. In business, it's like, it's not personal. I just don't want to use your software.
Yep, for sure. So walk us through, I guess, like, you know, your early endeavors and how did you end up build, like, first days of Kisterra? Where did that idea come from? Because it feels like, again, very niche space, you know, but like, how did you end up with the idea of it, and then how did you make that transition to it from whatever you were doing before?
So completely random. Like I said, I was in entertainment. Then, you know, my dad, like I said, big entrepreneur. So that's what I was taught my whole life: business making, deal making, entrepreneurship. So I started founding a couple of companies. I wasn't really successful. To make a long story short, I started working with this Israeli billionaire who was a gaming mogul. Gaming is a washed-up word for gambling, right? Online gambling. So we were in Europe, and I used to work with him, and I saw the most amazing technology in the world in gambling. And we all know that what advanced the internet was gambling and porn, right? Processing and marketing, everything came from gambling and porn. So they always had the cutting edge, mobile friendly, a decade before everybody else had them. And when I worked with him, one of his endeavors was he wanted to buy a financial institute. So we started doing due diligence on financial institutes. This was still back in Europe. And then I go do a due diligence on a small lending bank, and I see that the technology that they're using for marketing is a decade behind what the gaming industry has. And I'm saying, wait a minute, this is an industry 50 times bigger, but their technology is so way back. Maybe there's an idea here. And then I catch a flight to the United States because my friend was in the banking industry, and I go, you know, spend a couple of days with him. I say, oh my God, in the United States, they're a decade behind the UK. So there's a whole ripe industry for change because it's massive, but they're way behind on technology. And I know all this amazing tech from Europe, and nobody's even thinking about using it here. If I can find a way to merge that, that's amazing. So I call my dad, obviously. I'm like, listen, Dad, I think I'm onto something because I'm in this conference here for banks, and nobody's talking about what I'm talking about. Marketing, personalization, differentiation. They don't know how to do all this. And he's like, okay, I come back to Israel. I don't know anything about technology. I just have this amazing idea. So I meet up. I just start talking to everybody that's into marketing technology. And one of them walks into my office. His name is Segev Shilton, my future partner and our CEO, who is just the smartest person I've known in my life. He walks in. I'm like, oh my God, you are the smartest person I know in my life. You know everything about technology. Listen to this. I have an idea. If you want to run on this with me, we'll go 50-50. I go over the counter. I shake his hand. That was the first time we ever met. We didn't sign anything. We have no founder's contract, no Bambi clause, no nothing. And we did all this, raised millions of dollars just on that first day, first handshake of I told him, listen, I have this amazing idea. If you know how to build this, we're going to change our lives. And so we built what became Kisterra, right? But it was a very, very initial software. But what was so good about it, it was straight to the point. It was zero BS software. It wasn't looking to change the world. It was looking to fix, like you're saying, a specific niche problem that nobody else really understood as good as us. And because it was so niche, nobody else was working on fixing it, right? But what I'm saying, if you say niche, working with banks, niche was huge. And then we kind of pivoted to insurance, which is, even larger. And that's where we are today, continuing to perfect that niche. And we just have this 3-year gap on the entire of the rest of the world because we just identified something before them, started working on building technology, and we're really able to deploy a product really quick, which is another thing I want to tell people. Most companies raise a lot of money, spend years before they meet the market. We were founded on May 2015. We met the market end of May 2015. And we were profitable end of May 2015 because our software was so small. It did this. It did not do anything else. It didn't look good. It wasn't beautiful. It wasn't fat. It wasn't anything, but it was to the point. And our customers loved it because it solved a specific problem that actually exists, which is another thing I want to tell entrepreneurs. Solve a problem that actually exists, and solve a problem which is, on one hand, scalable enough to be big, but then niche enough for you to actually be able to be in front of people, not tell them, I'm changing the insurance universe. No, I'm changing this. These 5 things you do every morning when you wake up that take you 4 hours, I can do that in 2 minutes with my software. You know what? That's an easier sell than selling a whole organization on something, right? I'm going to save you 4 hours every day, and it's going to cost you $100 a month. How did that sound to you? Because pricing doesn't matter. Get in the door, right? Provide value, prove yourself. And that was what kind of set us off on the trajectory. And then every year we just, lay out another software, like a 2.0, 3, whatever it is, like another version, right? We've changed our software like 3 major times since we started. It was called 3 different things. And maybe in 2 years, we'll change it again because that's the life of software, right? That's the beauty of cloud-based software and now being on premises is you can change it all the time and your customer gets, the benefit of you just, upgrading and uploading new things to the cloud. They're able to use it. So we have customers with us for years. They're not even looking at the same software, but they're still our customers because everything changed, right? It looks better. It's faster. It does a lot of things differently, but it's still us, and it's still the same contract you signed a couple of years ago. So I believe that's a huge benefit. If I'm trying to kind of circle it back to SaaS, which is the core of the product, of the show, that's a huge advantage of new SaaS products and our ability to engage that way with our customers.
Interesting. So going back to that, I mean, obviously it's a very interesting story of how you ended up developing the idea, finding your co-founder. Can you walk us through that first year, right? Like you have this great idea. Obviously, it's a hypothesis at that point, but you're getting a lot of validation points before you even start a line of code, before you even met your partner. But what
I have built my career on conferences. Built my career on conferences. Fly over. Listen to people. Hear what they're saying. You will learn everything that you want. In military intelligence, there are two ways to get intelligence. There's SIGINT signal intelligence, which is everything online, and human intelligence. Because I'm not a coder, I'm a huge believer in humans, right? Go to people, ask them questions, get answers. So what you said in a nutshell, what's really important, I want to go back to that point. Before even writing a line of code, I was in the conferences in the UK, in the United States. I spent some money. I flew over there. It's not expensive, people. No excuses. Get on a plane, fly to a conference. Ask people. They will tell you what their problems are if they're clients. They will tell you what they're doing if they're competitors, right? Learn about the industry and only then start spending money on product and code. And that's what we did for the whole first year. Is listen to your clients. Have that dual, that reciprocal information. Don't wait for a year to give them a product. Give them product first week. Let it not work. Tell them, I'm a new company. Take it for free. Use it for a month. Design a partner. Tell me what you liked about it. Boom, change, iteration. Next week, next month, fly over there. Sit with them in their office. For us, it's a 16-hour flight. Sit with them. Please explain to me. I want to prove to you that I care. I show up in the United States. We've gotten some contracts by people seeing us and say, hey, you know what? We see this Kisterra t-shirt more than we see locally based American companies. You guys get on a plane every other week, and we say yes, because we care. Because being here in front of our clients is the number one rule for succeeding in business. So first year, it's all about trial and error. Don't be afraid. Give it for free. Try something new. Experiment. Tell them so your client knows, right? Don't act like you're the biggest company in the world. Be humble. Tell them, listen, this is what we're going to try to do. We're doing this for you. And then only build what they want you to build. Don't build what you think is amazing. If they tell you this button isn't working, get rid of the stupid button. Put it somewhere else, right?
Yeah.
If they want this report to be fixed or this cadence of report to be done, just do it. Don't think you're smarter than anybody. Your clients are your bosses. I tell this until today. I fly over to insurance carriers. I tell them every time, we work for you. Tell us what you want us to do. That's what we're going to do. So that's kind of how I see, it's the whole time, but especially that crucial first year. If you can get some clients, doesn't even matter if they're paying clients. If you can get some clients, people that actually need your product, people that your product was built for, listen to them, fly over to them, drive over, listen to what they say, tweak it. I don't want excuses. I mean, it doesn't take a lot of money. Anybody that's sitting in their chair now finding excuses is always going to find an excuse, right?
Of course.
Do it. It's not expensive. We spent $50,000 to fund Kisterra. Sick of it myself. $25,000 each of us. That's not a lot of money in any perspective. Not today, but also not, 7 years ago. Because we only use the money for what we need. No fancy office, no fancy drinks, no nothing. Plane tickets, conferences. When you have enough clients, a developer. Before that, do everything you get a developer. Only when it's right, get another one. Only when it's right, get another one. We didn't have a CFO till last year. We raised $76 million without a CFO. So I know it's not common, but I don't want it to hear anybody now saying it's impossible. You have to have all these different positions before you make it. No, we raised $76 million without a CFO. We're trying to prove that, you can be, lean. Only hire people when you need them, right?
Yeah.
Product manager. What does that even mean? I don't know. Hire people when you need them, and not just to say, I have a big office, I have a lot of employees, I'm so cool and all that kind of stuff. Don't get caught up by vanity, right? Don't drink your own Kool-Aid. Stay humble. I'll say this on every interview. That's what we believe in Kisterra. Work hard, stay humble. Good things are going to come to you.
Awesome. So I got a couple other questions here before we kind of round things out. I know we're hitting the top of the hour, but one of them is, what is the size of the company now? How many employees do you guys have, and are they distributed across the world, or are they all local to Israel?
We're about 70 people. I think we have 3 people in the United States, which is relatively new to us. It just started this year. So we've done everything. Just like I said, office in the United States, expensive, right? American employees, expensive. So don't get them until you have to have them. Just to say that, how companies love to say on their website, I have a Tokyo office, a London office, a New York office, to brag about it. No, until we had to have it, we didn't have. So now we have 3 new employees in the United States. They're doing an amazing job, and we're growing organically. So we're about 70 people.
Okay. And my last question here is, where do you imagine Kisterra in the next 5 years?
Enjoying our ride. It doesn't matter if we're public, if we get bought, if we're, hopefully we're used by the majority of at least all American insurance companies and then globally, but I take it back to enjoying our ride. If I can sit back with you here in 5 years and tell you, hey Chris, it's been one hell of a ride, then that's what matters. Enjoy the ride, bring actual value to your clients and customers, have them enjoy working with you too. It's more important than anything else for me.
Awesome. On that note, I think we'll end it there. Thank you so much for taking the time. I'm also excited to see where the kids' books end up in the next 5 years as well.
Thank you so much. And thank you for having me. And thank you for allowing me to have this unorthodox conversation. It's just, we're passionate about what we do. We're passionate about life. And life is such a unique, peculiar thing, man, that we each have to kind of travel on our own thread. So good luck to anybody listening to this. Thanks again, Chris. Chag Sameach, which means happy holiday from Israel, because it's holiday here. And thank you, everybody, for watching.
Thank you so much.